He was the greatest warrior of the Persian Empire, the Lion of Qadisiyah. His name alone made armies tremble, Rustam Farrokhzad. But when the truth came, his sword met a power far greater than empires. This is not just a story of war, it's a story of destiny, when the might of Persia bowed before the light of Islam. Before Islam reached Persia, the Sassanid Empire ruled with pride and luxury. Zoroastrian temples burned day and night, the nobles wore silk and gold, the kings were called Shadow of God. And among them stood Rustam Farrokhzad, their fiercest general, loyal, wise, and undefeated. But behind the gold and glory, the empire was cracking. Kings changed every few years, greed filled the palaces, and the poor prayed for justice. When news came from Arabia, a new faith had risen, calling for one God and equality. The Persians laughed. Yet soon, small armies bearing the name of Allah began defeating Persian generals one after another. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, had already written to the Persian king Kisra, inviting him to Islam. Kisra tore the letter to pieces. The Prophet said, "So too shall his kingdom be torn apart." Years later, during the caliphate of Umar ibn al-Khattab radiyallahu anhu, that prophecy began to unfold. Rustam was chosen to stop the Muslims once and for all. He gathered more than 60,000 soldiers, armored elephants, archers, and swordsmen stretching to the horizon. Facing them, Sa'ad bin Abi Waqqas radiyallahu anhu led barely 30,000 believers, barefoot soldiers with faith stronger than iron. Before battle, the Muslims sent an envoy, Ribi' bin Amir radiyallahu anhu, who entered Rustam's golden tent carrying a spear and a camel. When Rustam mocked him, Ribi' said calmly, "Allah has sent us to free mankind, from the worship of man to the worship of the one true God." For 3 days the battle roared like thunder. The ground shook with elephants, arrows darkened the sky, and dust covered the sun. The Muslims fought with takbir on their tongues and sabr in their hearts. Then, during the night, a massive sandstorm swept across the field. The wind was behind the Muslims and against the Persians. Rustam, trapped in the chaos, fell into a river when his horse stumbled. A Muslim soldier struck him down. The Lion of Persia was no more. When the Persian soldiers found Rustam's body, silence filled the battlefield. The invincible empire had fallen, not to numbers, but to faith. Within years, the light of Islam reached the palaces of Ctesiphon. The throne of Kisra stood empty. The prophecy had come true. The kingdom that tore the prophet's letter was itself torn to dust. Rustam was a man of honor, a warrior bound by loyalty. But he fought for kings who ruled through pride, not truth. The Muslims fought for something eternal, for the one who never dies. History remembers Rustam's courage, but it remembers the Muslims' faith even more. Empires rise with pride and fall with injustice. Rustam's story is a reminder. No matter how strong an empire becomes, it cannot stand against truth. For power fades, but faith remains. And so the Lion of Persia sleeps, defeated not by men, but by destiny.